Hello and thanks for dropping by. I have a dream I would like to share with you. A dream of Canada, where Canada stands tall and as a shining example of a just and earth-aware society for all the world to see. Now you may think that this dream of Canada already exists, and I wish I could agree with you. But I feel we've lost our focus, our resolve, and that we're moving away from the dream of Canada rather than towards it. And that's what my website is all about, identifying problems which take us off course and offering solutions and recommendations which get us back on track and moving once again towards the dream of Canada as envisioned by our forefathers, the first leaders and builders of this great nation. And we can do it. We can make the dream of Canada a reality. We can awaken the sleeping giant we truly are. We have the resources, the knowledge, and the people to do it. All we need is the political will, the courage, and the imagination to see the needed changes through. In my view, the movement away from the dream of Canada began several decades ago, the result of policies put in place by a string of political and business leaders who abide by a neoliberal, what I term on this website neoconservative, agenda. So let's begin there with a bit of Canadian history to get us up to speed, to get us back on track and moving once again towards the dream of Canada. After the Great Depression and the war years, the Keynesian revolution swept the West. The publication in Canada in 1945 of the White Paper on Employment and Income and the Green Book, an outline of the government's social welfare planning, confirmed that the Keynesian consensus had been accepted by Canadian governments at that time and through the 60s. The consensus considered government intervention to be necessary in order to protect and maintain the welfare of Canada and its citizens. Trudeau, on behalf of Canadians, refused to get involved in attacks against Cuba and in the Vietnam War. And he made no bones about his dislike for Ronald Reagan. When asked what he thought about Brian Mulroney, he replied that with all the checks and balances in our parliamentary system, we had overlooked one thing, the election of a wimp. By a wimp we mean a Canadian leader unwilling to say no to U.S. administration demands. One wimp was bad enough. 4 in a row, no end in sight, has moved Canada to the point of no return. These bad choices are typical of neoliberalism, which reflects the so-called Washington Consensus, which maintains that government control over the economy is inefficient, corrupt, or otherwise undesirable, almost a direct antithesis to the Keynesian Consensus, which claims that, on the contrary, an enlightened government can use its influence in the economy to stabilize total output at the full employment capacity level. And from the 1940s through the 60s, that did prove to be the case. Let's finish off our brief historical detour. During the 1980s Reagan and Thatcher years, Canada was steadily drawn into the Washington Consensus, and neoliberalism dominates political discourse and policy today.